Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my live streams. This is a little bit of an impromptu live stream that I've decided to do to test out a couple of things here set up in the room, and I see one that isn't working. Give me one sec. All right, I'm gonna have to play around with that back there because that is not working. So I have a slightly modified setup for what I'm trying to do here in the room. I'm continuing to tweak things and to make some improvements. And the fact that you can see that light over my shoulder isn't ideal. So we'll have to fix that a little bit later. So it sounds like you guys can hear me, which I think is good. Yeah. Our audio is good. Excellent. Thank you, Jesus and Broke Cuz of Comics. I appreciate you guys. So I decided to jump on here, honestly, because I had nothing else to do. I had a little bit of a free time here. Cover Lover Comics. I appreciate that. I actually had to, I dropped the wife off. I dropped the wife off and the kids off at the airport to go see grandma. I am not headed there until tomorrow morning. And so I had a little bit of time to kill. So I was like, you know what? Let me jump on here. Let me jump on and go live, say hello to the people. Victor says he can hear me. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. So I decided to jump on here to say hello to the people and to speak about some news that came out recently. And so it to some degree is news that we all knew was coming, right? We all knew that this was going to happen. But when it hits, you still have to take a moment to acknowledge what has happened, right? And so let me say hello to a couple of people here. I've already done it a little bit, but let me say hello. Big Geek Comics is here. Broke Cuz of Comics is in the house. Keith is here. How you doing, brother? Jesus is in the house. Perry Comics. How you doing, brother? Comic Lover. Cover Lover Comics. I'm going to get that right one day. Is here. Chris is in the house. It's good to see you. Randy is here. Shadow is here. Comics and Stuff. Steven is here. Victor is in the house. Good as gold. It is good to see all of you guys. Thank you for hanging out just a little bit. But the news that broke about, I think it's about 19 hours ago. So I'm a little late. But I don't know that I've seen anyone speak on it. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just go ahead and do it. Netflix has decided, wait for it, to cancel The Punisher and Jessica Jones. They have made the decision to cancel the last, I think this is the last two, right? The last two of the Marvel properties that was running on the Netflix series. And they got dusted. They indeed did get dusted, my friend. Definitely, it's one of those things, again, that we knew it was coming. Hulknut says it, right? We knew it was coming, right? But again, it's one of those things that when it happens, you still have to pause to acknowledge it. I was looking at this list the other day, and I'm curious what you guys think. If you had to rank the 6 Marvel Netflix shows, how would you rank them? How would you rank the 6 of them? And the 6 that I'm talking about is Defenders, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, The Punisher, Jessica Jones, and Daredevil. Those are the 6 shows that are essentially, I think, all now but canceled, right? They are all canceled officially. And I'm just curious how people would rank it. We knew it was coming, but I honestly really enjoyed the Netflix series. I enjoyed them. With some exceptions, of course, right? I think they were solid shows. They were definitely entertaining shows, right? Hulknut says, Netflix says it costs too much to make them. Maybe. We love comics. How you doing, Chris? It's good to see you, brother. He says he may cancel his Netflix because of that. So Gray has given us a ranking. He says Daredevil, #1, followed by Punisher, followed by Jessica Jones, followed by Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and then Defenders was the last. Who else? Iron Fist deserved, yeah, the Iron Fist was not good. Iron Fist was not good, I have to admit. The last season was okay. The last season should have been the first season, right? But that very first season was really, really bad. What are people saying? Daredevil. Perry says Daredevil, Punisher, Jessica Jones, and he didn't watch anything else. Chris Barrett says Punisher, Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Luke Cage, Defenders, and then Iron Fist. That is actually not a bad list. I might agree with that one. Punisher and Daredevil is top for sure, says Randy. Daredevil, someone says Daredevil. I mean, the thing is that they were all, I think they were all good shows. They could have been better, right? Like the Iron Fist could have been better. I kept watching that first season, hoping that that episode was going to get better, or hoping that the next episode would get better. And it never did. It never happened. But they made some improvements in the off season for that one. I think they had the guy actually take some acting classes and actually do some martial arts training, I think. And it was better in season 2, but still not as good. So I actually took a look. I can't remember who did this. Where did I find this? I stole this list. I didn't make this list up. I stole it from somebody, and I hope they don't come after me. But, it's Screen Rant. Screen Rant. This is Screen Rant's list, so hopefully they won't come after me. But here's how they rank the shows from worst to best. They said Defenders, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Punisher, Jessica Jones, and then Daredevil was number 1. And I sort of agree with 4 through 6. I agree with Defenders being the worst, followed by Iron Fist, followed by Luke Cage. I kind of agree with that. I struggle with the top 3 because the top 3, in my opinion, were really good. And it depends on whether you're looking at them all seasons in or if you're looking at one particular season. But the Punisher was incredible. It was incredible. Daredevil, incredible. Season 1 of Jessica Jones, pretty darn good. Season 2, maybe season 3 will be better, but I might want to play with those top 3 because the Punisher, man, it was gritty, it was solid acting, lots of gunplay, Victor says he is an Iron Fist fan. Don't hate. No, we don't hate the Iron Fist, brother. We hate that poor acting. We hate the poor acting. I think that was the problem. Gray says Punisher was absolutely amazing. Daredevil too. Brother, the Daredevil with the grittiness, it was a really gritty show, where he had an all black and the white mask with the black over top of it. That was gritty. That fight with Kingpin, gritty. Just his fights in general were just it was a street brawl, and that's basically what he was a street brawler, and that was reflected in that show. You had the interpersonal relationships between him and Foggy. I mean, it was a well done series. It really was. And the same thing can be said for Punisher. Punisher was solid. I was a little worried about Punisher this last season. I was a little worried when he started spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, when he started letting people go, right? Started letting people get away. I was a little worried about him. I was a little worried about the season, but it definitely turned around. JD is saying season 2 of Daredevil was the best season. And again, I don't know that I could argue with that. Steven says Luke Cage started to get good. I would agree. The music was solid. There were some things that were done in season 1 and the early part of season 2 that I didn't agree with. But it started to get a little better. I actually really like the actor that plays Luke Cage. I actually followed him recently on Instagram. I actually kind of like the guy. He seems like a kind of guy that you would actually like, There have been some people that have been speculating that have said they expect these characters to actually come back in a Marvel movie or possibly another TV show. And see, Gray is saying this. He says they should keep those actors for those characters in the MCU. Pele, how you doing, brother? The problem is I don't know if they can. And in the article, I was reading this article on, where was this thing? Newsarama. Newsarama sent out an article that I was reading. And I think that would make sense. The problem, however, is that I think that the characters are locked into some kind of a 2-year exclusion contract where they actually, I don't think they can portray those characters for 2 years after the show ends. So I don't know. Yeah, there you go. We Love Comics is saying that. Exactly. Not for 2 years unless they change the contract. That was exactly what I saw. Is everybody's like, well, just roll them over to the MCU or roll them over to the Disney streaming service. The problem is with the way that the contracts are written, I don't think that they can do that, which kind of sucks. Because I think the character that played Jessica Jones she did a good job. The character that played Daredevil, fantastic. The Kingpin, my buddy from Law and Order, he killed it. You know, the same, all of the characters that were chosen, in my opinion, were chosen extremely well. Whoever was doing the casting or the show running or whatever you call it did a fantastic job. Luke Cage to me is Luke Cage. If I see anybody else play Luke Cage, I'll be looking at them kind of cross-eyed. The same thing with Punisher. Punisher was spot on. Spot on. It was, I'm definitely, Keith is agreeing. He said the casting was spot on. It's like I'm writing these comments at the same time. I mean, they did a really good job. And it's a shame. It's a shame that we may not see these characters for a couple of years, because I think that the actors did a great job. I think the storylines were incredible. My hope is that maybe something can be worked out from a contracting perspective, right? You never know. If you pay enough money to something, then typically you can make problems go away. Comic Noob is in the house. Ruben is here. How you doing, brother? So We Love Comics is saying the actors were not the problem. It was the writing and the pacing, and they were so afraid to use their costumes when they did in for season. So I think part of the reason, Chris, honestly, why they were hesitant to do it is I think that they were trying to make the show more appealing to a wider audience. I think it's one of those things that they wanted to not trick people, but they wanted to get people interested in the characters and in the story before those people realized that it was a superhero movie. I think that, or a TV show. I think that was part of it, was let's get the buy-in. Let's get people sold on this show. Like my wife doesn't like superhero stuff. She liked Jessica Jones. We sat there and watched the entire season of Jessica Jones, and she absolutely loved it. I don't think she really knew that it was a comic book, to be honest with you. You know, I just started watching Umbrella Academy the other day, and I guess this is a comic book. I haven't bought it. I don't own it. But I started watching Umbrella Academy, and it's pretty darn good. And it's not a whole lot of superhero stuff, but I can see why they're doing it the way that they're doing it. It's really to appeal not just to the comic community, because we're going to watch. Let's be honest. We are going to watch this stuff, by and large, right? I think what they're trying to do is, like with the movies to some degree, is to cast a wide net and draw people in. I think that that's part of it. So he says wider equal fatter. Potentially. The average American is a little larger than the norm, so maybe. And then Dak Hammer is saying it's about the cost. Daredevil's costume didn't cost anything, brother. He had a bed sheet over his head and some wraps. So no, I mean, it could be. Who knows? I mean, we're all making this stuff up, right? Who knows what the truth of the matter is? Hey, how you guys doing? It's a couple of new people have popped in here. It's good to see you guys. So what did Hulknut say? He said, get the wives hooked. Brother, get the wives hooked and you can watch all day long, brother. I'm telling you. And she got hooked on Jessica Jones, and we watched it, and we enjoyed it. She even watched some of the Daredevil stuff, even with the costume. She sat there and watched the Daredevil because it was just really good. It was really good. And Gray says also the whole no costume thing is a little more realistic. Again, I mean, I wear spandex pretty much every day. I wear spandex out in public, but I could see how, you know, the average person might not wear. Connecting Comics says my wife loved Jessica Jones. We're watching Gotham right now. Yeah, man. I mean, again, I think that it was done for several reasons, of which we've highlighted several reasons, which I think we could all be right to some degree. I've heard about this Titan show that Hulknuts is talking about. I haven't seen it yet. I've been watching this Umbrella Academy thing, and I'm digging it. I don't understand it all, to be honest with you, but I'm actually, I think I'm on like episode 5 or 6 or something like that. When the wife goes to sleep, I try to pop in an episode and watch it. But yeah, for those that are joining a little late, the reason for this impromptu dreaded day midday stream is to highlight the fact that Netflix has officially announced that they are canceling both Punisher and Jessica Jones. They're saying that Punisher will not return for a third season, which is unfortunate because seasons 1 and 2 were incredible. And then Jessica Jones, they took almost like a preemptive strike on that one, right? That one hasn't even aired yet, and they're saying, yeah, Jessica Jones this is the final season. So I guess there will be no fourth season for Jessica Jones, but the third season will appear on Netflix. And I guess they started this whole dance. Marvel Television, which I guess is a separate division from the MCU. Marvel Television and Netflix actually partnered up and announced this thing in 2013, which was quite some time ago. And Daredevil's first season was in March 18th of 2016. I don't think that was the first episode, though. I don't think that was the first series that debuted. I thought Jessica Jones was the first, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But yeah, definitely one of the things we saw this coming. We all knew that it was going to come. But I wanted to take a moment to acknowledge what had actually transpired. It's definitely a sad day because I enjoyed these shows, and only time will tell where the future of these characters actually go. I would love to see every single one of these characters come back in some other form, whether it be on a TV show, which I really enjoyed the TV shows, right? You could binge watch it, but it was nice to see episodes versus just a one and done kind of movie. So I'd love to see more TV shows in this vein. I don't know if they can work it from a contractual standpoint, but it would be cool. It would be cool to see these as TV shows because I really did enjoy them. So only time will tell what happens over there. So Chris says cash rules everything around Marvel. He's throwing up the Wu-Tang sign. That is hilarious. Just Pele says his wife is crazy about Daredevil and Punisher, but didn't like Jessica Jones or the rest. She said Luke Cage is okay. I would have to agree with your wife. Luke Cage is okay. But it's cool. Your wife got into at least 2 of the shows, which I think is cool. Surprised she didn't like Jessica Jones. I wonder what her issue was there with Jessica Jones. But who knows? Shadow was asking the question whether the cancellations decreased the value of actor signed comics. Who knows, brother? I don't know many people that actually got the comics signed by the actors. I really don't know. I really don't know. It's a good question. It's a good question. I don't even know how you go about pricing a comic that is signed by an actor, to be honest with you. I'm not sure about that. Maybe someone in the room has had some experience and can actually speak to that. But I don't know. Netflix should shuffle more different. Victor's making a point here about shuffling some things around. Walt, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you. I messed up with my light back there, Walt. You can actually see it on camera. That's my bad. I'm gonna have to fix that a little bit later. So what does it say? There's a good Forbes article called Netflix cancellation of the Marvel shows. Is it a show of force? Oh, good one. Hopefully you guys can check out that link that Comic Books NYC just posted up. I think there's a ton of really great articles out there on this topic that I encourage you guys to kind of read. Pele is saying he thinks this will hurt the value of the comics related to these series. Do you really think so? Do you think that Amazing Spider-Man 129 is going to come down as a result of the show being canceled? I think that's a legitimate question, and I think we should take a moment to talk about that. Oh, okay, got it. Couple of funny comments here. Netflix is shifting to Mark Miller characters. Yeah, we'll see what happens with that, right? Because is Umbrella Academy one of his? Is that a Mark Miller thing? I think he also wrote some of the Ultimate stuff, didn't he? Which I'm reading right now. I'm like on Ultimates 2 or something like that. Oh, okay. Pele is making the point here that his wife didn't get into Jessica Jones because of the mind control, sexual assault stuff, which I get that. I definitely get that. And sometimes you actually forget about some of that stuff. Forget about some of the exact details of some of the things. So I definitely get her perspective on that one. Chris is saying, oh, he thinks only temporarily that some of the other books could be hurt, but he doesn't think that 129 will be affected. Some of the others maybe. Yeah. Okay. Somebody else made a comment. No, just the minor keys. Okay. There you go. Only comic fans, how you doing, brother? It's good to see you. For those that are just now joining the chat, we broke some news here. It's 19 hours old, but we're gonna take credit for breaking news about the official cancellation of Punisher and also Jessica Jones TV shows by Netflix. Much to the chagrin of many people out there, I think we all knew that this day was coming, but we still want to at least acknowledge the time. So, only comic fans is correcting the spelling of my name. I definitely appreciate when people actually spell my name correctly because my name is Reginald and Reginald only has one G. And so when I use the name Reggie, I always hated the way that Reggie with two G's looked. I always hated it. And so I decided many years ago that I was not going to refer to myself as Reggie with two G's. So thank you, brother, for making that adjustment. I don't get offended by that stuff. But if you notice in some of my videos, I keep repeating my name with the hope that sooner or later people will catch on. So no big deal, no big deal. Marvel and Netflix should get lesser known characters. Darkhawk, bro, it's the 90s all over again. Never Stop Collecting is making the recommendation that they do a TV show with Darkhawk and Sleepwalker. It could be interesting. It could be interesting. I mean, I think, like, let's be honest, was Jessica Jones, was she really a big character? I mean, I don't know that Jessica Jones or even Iron Fist, for that matter, were big characters. Daredevil, Punisher, set those aside, right? But I don't know that those two were big characters. But to your point, though, I think your point is this: is that Marvel has 80 years, if you will, or I should say, comics have 80 years of history, 81, I think, officially, to actually draw from. And I went back and read Darkhawk again recently. And it was painful. It was painful, but it would be cool to see a modern day interpretation of Darkhawk. Sleepwalker, I haven't yet reread, but I have a couple of the number ones, and I might want to check that one out. But I think Marvel and the others, for that matter, could draw from this rich history that they have to bring some of these characters to the TV screen, and I think it would be cool. I know people are really hot and heavy about Moon Knight. People really dig Moon Knight. I have never read a Moon Knight book in my life, but people want to see a Moon Knight TV show, and it could be cool. It could be cool to see some of this stuff come to life. Chris is making fun of me because I'm breaking news 19 hours later. Brother, we are still going to take credit for it, even if it is 19 hours later. Oh man. Walt says Marvel has been bringing a lot of their characters in-house over the last couple of years, i.e. canceling Netflix, CBS, etc. I'm surprised that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is on Steve. So here's the thing, Walt. I don't know if it was Marvel's decision. I don't know if it was Marvel's decision to cancel it. I think it was honestly Netflix. The same way that I think that Captain Marvel is not going to be released on Netflix. I want to say that Captain Marvel is one of the first Marvel universe movies that is not going to be released on Netflix. And so the issue with that is that Marvel actually loses, I want to say it's 140 million, 150 million or something like that, because Netflix has opted, and again, I think it's Netflix has opted not to pick up the rights for that, which means that Marvel's going to have to fill that void with someone else, right? Whether it's HBO or some other channel, or they stream it on their own thing, they're going to take a hit of 140, 150 million in sales because of that. So I'm not sure that it's Marvel's decision versus it being the decision of Netflix. And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is incredible. If you haven't seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you are missing out. I think I've watched every single season that's out there. The space stuff got a little wonky, but by and large, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is incredible. I thoroughly enjoy that show. So if you guys haven't seen that, I definitely encourage you to check that one out. Jess Pele saying Jessica Jones was very minor. Iron Fist was a little bit bigger. Completely agree. Both are known characters, but Jessica Jones, I don't know that I've ever really seen her in anything major, no crossover events. And again, I've been out in and out of comics over years, but Jessica Jones never really struck me as a major character. Same thing with Iron Fix. I think he has a bigger profile, but not like a Spider-Man, not even like a Punisher, to be honest with you, or a Daredevil. I think both those the aforementioned characters are pretty big characters. So we love comics says if they can make a talking tree and raccoon, then any character is possible. Brother, I don't know. I was about to say, I don't know if they could do a TV show out of a talking tree, but in a movie, I Am Groot is hilarious. A teenage Groot is hilarious. I watched those Guardians of the Galaxy movies and I laughed the entire time. I laughed the entire time. Chris Barrett is here saying that the Agents of the Shield is the backbone of the MCU. Bro, Agents of Shield is just incredible. I picked up I think that first appearance of Agent what is it, Daisy? I think it's her name. Quake. I dig that character for many reasons. I dig that character. I picked up her first appearance somewhere recently. And Comic G Man is saying he never misses an episode because it's solid, bro. It is really, really good TV. Yeah, Wheeler Chris is saying Jessica Jones was only real known because she was married to Luke Cage. Pretty much, Power Man, pretty much. So I'm reading this. I'm reading Ultimates 2, and they have some of the characters in there. I think it's like Dark Hawk, Luke Cage, Valkyrie. There's a couple of other minor characters in Ultimates 2, and it's hilarious how they are being depicted. I'm really enjoying this Ultimate Universe stuff. I never really read it back in the day because I was only in comics for a short period of time between 2000 and 2015. But I'm reading it now, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it. Chris says he picked up Battle Scars #1 today, which I think is the first appearance of Agent Coulson. Congrats on that, bro. That is not a cheap book. I was dancing around buying that one and never really got around to actually pulling the trigger because of the prices for what they wanted for that book. But definitely a cool book, man. Congrats on that, brother. We Love Comics is asking a question. What do we think about Captain Marvel and all the controversies? I will not be going to see it. You know what, Chris? I don't know because I honestly haven't paid attention to much of the controversies. There was a video that someone released the other day. I think it was a woman, and she had some interesting comments in her thumbnail about who Captain Marvel wasn't for. And for me, there is just so much, I don't know, controversy around Captain Marvel that I just shut down to it. I just shut down to it. There are certain things that I can't take in. Just Pele says that Reggie is allergic to controversy. Bro, I am allergic to it. I'm telling you, I'm like Kevin Hart, right? I'm Kevin Hart prior to his scandals, which I hope don't happen to me. He would not get into controversy. It's not my thing. It's not my thing. I know that people have some strong feelings towards Captain Marvel, both for and against. I don't even go to the movies. Let's be honest. I haven't been to the movies in quite some time. I probably won't see Captain Marvel or any other movie until it comes to Netflix, which means that I probably won't see it because it's not coming to Netflix. So I don't know. I don't get into a lot of the controversies. I try to steer clear of some of that stuff because it's just messy, and I don't want to do messy. I want to do fun. I want to do informational. But I may drop you a line and have a conversation with you offline, Chris, about that. Chris is saying Jessica Drew is the new Spider-Woman. Heard some of the negative stuff off the bat already. Bro, there is so much negativity around this Captain Marvel movie. It's impressive. But there's also a lot of controversy and negativity around the Dark Phoenix. There's a lot of people that are like, I hope this movie never sees the light of day. I guess people walked out of the screening and some other things because the movie has been recut several different times and it is not catching traction. So you guys are talking about the Spawn movie here. My wife is actually out of town, and I may seize this opportunity while she's away to actually watch the Venom movie because I've heard good and bad things about the Venom movie. I wouldn't mind seeing it. I think I think it's Apple that has it like for $5 or something like that. So I may check that out. I've heard good and bad things. People are excited about the Carnage. I guess Woody Harrelson playing Carnage in the next version. I guess there's been some increases in what is it, ASM 361, first appearance of Carnage. So I may check that one out. I like to see that one. And Pele, you were right, brother. I am a no drama dude, and that's probably a good thing, as you say. It's just not my thing. It's just not my thing. I think there's a lot of people that are cool with that. I don't know. If Dark Phoenix sucks, books will be on the cheap. Bro, I was looking at that Dark Phoenix book in 2018. It was actually on my want list. And before the trailer dropped, the book was super hot, super hot. And I walked away from it because I was like, I am not going to pay that much money for this book. And then you started hearing all the grumblings, right, about the trailer, and then it actually dropped. And I remember watching it, and it was okay, right? It was okay. Again, trying to be a glass half full. It was okay. But you're right, the prices, I think, dropped as a result of that. I actually picked it up. It's actually sitting back there. I picked it up from a guy and did not pay a crazy amount of money for it, which I think is great. Kind of like what Chris was saying just a second ago about his first appearance of Agent Coulson. Sometimes you can find a good book at the right price and it work out, but it may not be initially when you go after it. But if you're patient, a lot of times these books will present themselves. When doing a movie like Dark Phoenix, they should just follow the comics. Bro, I mean, here's the thing. I heard somebody criticizing the movie, and I think it was a good point. And I think it was it's a girl online with like green hair. I can't remember her name, but she had like green hair or something like that. And her whole point was the Dark Phoenix saga was a cool saga. It was a cool period in time. But that was a cool period that was preceded by the Phoenix. It was preceded by them introducing the Phoenix before getting to the Dark Phoenix. And so to actually leapfrog and just go directly to Dark Phoenix doesn't allow you to build up to it, in other words, because it was the Phoenix saga that I think was the momentous thing, and then it was followed by Dark Phoenix. So they're doing it a little different. Doing a little different. The Almighty King is basically saying Dark Phoenix is going to blow chunks like Apocalypse. That Apocalypse was not very good. That was not very good. I'm gonna tell you. They should just shut that down. They should probably just shut that down. There were people that were saying that to introduce that movie would hurt the intellectual property of X-Men. And I don't necessarily agree with that because there's been a lot of horrible movies that are out there. Horrible movies, horrible Fantastic Four stuff that people still love the Fantastic Four, right? I think that it'll be harmful, but I don't know that it'll be truly detrimental to the intellectual property of the X-Men because the X-Men are wildly popular. I think that even if the movie were to come out, if they were to make a killer X-Men movie, all would be forgotten. I think people would still talk trash about it. But I think if you had a really good X-Men movie, I think that people would be forgiving of it, especially if it's an MCU X-Men movie and not some other studio doing it, you know? Oh, there we go. Comic Book Girl. There you go. Thank you, brother. Because she has green hair and I couldn't remember her name. I've only watched her channel a couple of times. But yeah, definitely cool. Rag718 is talking about my interview with Danielle last night. Nerdy girl. She has pink hair. She killed it. So I think someone did the math on that thing, and they basically said that she was basically sitting in front of her was about $1 million in comics, which is impressive. I can't tell you how many. I received so many emails and direct messages about that live stream already. It is impressive, and I think that live stream has prompted a lot of questions, which I think is good, constructive questions, not negatives. And I think that's good. Anytime that you can do a live stream that gets people thinking, that gets people talking, I think is wonderful, you know? And I think already it's been less than 12 hours. We've had 605 views of that video, which I think is really good. But Nerdy Girl brought the fire last night, man. She brought the fire last night. And I'm going to try to talk with her again about possibly coming on the channel again to maybe do something else. We need to figure out, of course, what that looks like. But it would be a huge pleasure to bring her back on, you know? I think she has an amazing collection of books. She has an amazing personality. And I think, it's one of those things that I actually had fun doing the interview with her, which I think is cool. If you can have fun and interview somebody and still stay on track, I think that that's fun, and have people really enjoy the discussion and spark some thought. I think that that's a win. So, I'm actually working on a couple of live streams for next week. I won't tell you guys what those are. You'll have to tune into the Ready, Set, Go live stream that I do on Sunday night, where we're actually going to hopefully have everything lined up by then. I'm actually working on 2 interviews for next week, possibly Wednesday and Thursday. Again, some things are in the air, but I hope to update you guys on Sunday night, 7:30, Ready, Set, Go live stream. And then we do have a live broadcast tonight at 7:30. We're going to have EGS joining us. Tony Trombetta is going to join us. We're going to get our first look at the man known as Tony Trombetta, the owner of EGS Comics. We're going to get him on here, and we're going to talk about third-party grading and the services that he offers. It should be a good conversation. I'm definitely excited about that one. So, but Rag 718, I'm glad you had a chance to watch the show, brother. Only Comic Fan says the woman has some crazy money. She has some crazy money, some crazy books, a smart business plan. It's one of those things, man. When you think about the book Outliers, I don't know how many of you guys have read that, but the book Outliers basically says that sometimes it appears that people come from out of nowhere, right? They come from out of nowhere, and you're like, how did they do that? Right? How did Michael Jordan do what he did? Right? But what I think we tried to illustrate last night is that sometimes people operate in obscurity for long periods of time. And in the book Outliers, they basically said that people operate in the backdrop, in the shadows for like 10 years or so before they perfect something. And then when they do show up, people are like, where'd you come from? And they're like, I've been doing this for some period of time, And so Danielle is a great example of that. She has been doing this as a career, essentially, for 14 years. She's been doing it for 14 years, but I personally only found out about her maybe 8 months ago. And I'm like, how did you do this? She's been grinding on this thing for 14 years, which is really, really impressive. And so I think she's given a lot of folks things to kind of think about, to see, what it takes to do it. And, there are going to be some people that are going to look at that and going to say, I could never do it. And then there's going to be some people that look at it and take away some inspiration from what she's been able to do, and think to themselves that I could do that. We'll see. We'll see what people do with it. Just a Rican in his comics just got here. How you doing, brother? It's good to see you. The Almighty saying Reggie sounds like he tried to have a screaming contest with Banshee. The voice is getting a little bit better every day. I'm actually going to be jumping on a plane with the family. I'm jumping on a plane tomorrow to go see the family who I just dropped off. And I need to record a couple of videos today and tonight so that I can release them to you guys next week. So you may hear more of this voice. Trust me when I tell you. I'm actually noodling as over the course of this morning since last night, noodling different ideas for some videos. So we'll see what I can come up with. And Comic G-Man is saying that he's going to be watching tonight. Thank you, brother. I definitely appreciate that. So I'm not going to belabor this point. Let me grab this thing real quick. I don't want to belabor the point, but I definitely want to thank you guys for hanging out with me just for a little bit this afternoon. Hopefully you guys will be able to tune in to check out the live stream that we do tonight. And just as a reminder, if you guys are interested in winning some cool books, this is one of the books that is going to be given away this week. This is Amazing Spider-Man number 15. This is Michael Turner sketch cover variant from Aspen Comics. This is one of the slabs that is going to be given away this week. Shout out to our sponsor for enabling us to do that. To win that thing, all you have to do is to watch the video that is coming out this week. Watch the video, follow the directions as to what the video actually says to do to win that. The contest will close Sunday morning. And then Sunday night, as part of the Ready, Set, Go live stream, I will announce the winner of that. My hope is that our technology cooperates so that you guys can actually see me very clearly this week versus last week. But we're going to be giving away that book. We're going to be giving away one book every single week. I have 3 more that are sitting right there. And we've got some 9.8s coming up. There's some 9.8s coming up. Really cool books, I think. So stay tuned, guys. We are trying to do some really cool things. I may actually actually also do a room update next week. I've been making some improvements to the room with like the mic arm and some of that stuff. Shout out to my buddy Walt, who reached out to me the other day and has sent me multiple emails that hurt my feelings, but were very, very beneficial. His gist of his emails were step your game up. Step your game up. Chris from We Love Comics did the same thing to me a while ago when I had like 250 subs, and it was appreciated then. And Walt's message to me recently has also been appreciated because he was right. Chris says, can we guess the 9.8? You can guess, bro. You can guess. I don't know if I'll tell you if you're right or not, but I'll give you an opportunity to guess. We Love Comics says that I should give away that ASM 129. Chris, I promise to give away ASM 129 as soon as you send me one that I will then donate back to the comic book community. It will be my great pleasure to give you shout outs for the donation of that ASM 129. That ASM 129 is not going anywhere, my friend. That is staying right there. At some point, we will upgrade. So, Robert, thank you for that feedback, brother. I definitely appreciate that. I probably will not be painting, but my hope is that some of the improvements that I do to the backdrop will be appealing to folks that are out there watching the live streams that tune into the videos. So, very cool. So, Robert, one of the things that we believe in practicing on this channel is civility. So I would definitely encourage you to continue practicing civility if you join my chats and my live streams. Cool? Cool. All right. So with that, guys, I will say thank you to each and every one of you for spending a little bit of your time with me. Again, my hope is that you guys can tune in for the live stream that we're going to be doing a little bit later today at 7:30 with EGS Comics. And stay tuned if you haven't yet found the video where I'm going to be giving away that amazing Spider-Man book. I definitely want to encourage you to stay on the lookout for that. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, I definitely want to encourage you to do that as well, because we have a lot of really great content that comes out every single week that you guys should definitely stay abreast of. If you need me, feel free to reach out to me. I am always available on Instagram and also on Gmail.